I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the weird and unusual, at least to some regard, in terms of what games I go out of my way to play and support. And this is most definitely true in the case of Hell Architect, the game we're looking at today. Hell Architect was originally pitched as a Kickstarter game, which pulled in over $24,000 on a roughly $8,000 initial crowdfunding goal, which is definitely pretty good. Anytime you can triple your original estimated rate of return on a financial endeavor, those are definitely good results. For the record, if you're looking at the actual Kickstarter page when I say this and the numbers don't appear to match what I'm saying, I'm converting the money from Canadian dollars to US dollars, since most of you watching me are from the US, if my YouTube analytics page is anything to go by. I had played the initial demo released alongside the Kickstarter and was quite intrigued by the concept, and did ultimately go on to back the game at the time, spending about $12 on one of the lowest, most affordable Kickstarter tiers to essentially pre-order myself a copy. Hell Architect is a 2D, sandbox-oriented base-building game with some very minimal survival-esque themes. You play as the overseer of this very small group of people and are tasked with providing them their basic human needs in the most inexpensive and efficient way possible, while also maximizing their productivity levels at all times to ensure the base is meeting its quotas, and to allow you to further expand the size of the base and to add new rooms and equipment. Yeah, if you're getting some strong Fallout Shelter vibes from this one, based off that description, I can't really fault you, since Hell Architect seems to be very obvious about its core inspiration, except there are some equally notable differences. When you first launch the game, you have the option of either playing through the story mode-esque scenario levels, which gradually teach you the mechanics and controls of the game, while steadily increasing the difficulty of your assigned tasks. These are accompanied by some very light story elements, delivered mainly via on-screen dialogue text, most of which is also fully voiced, if that's something you're into. You can choose to disable the narration in your sound settings if you choose to just exclusively read the text instead. I don't know why you would, but you can. Personally, while I found these scenarios rather useful as a means of learning the ropes, they aren't really the heart or soul of the game. The core of the game is instead concentrated in the sandbox mode, where you take what you've learned and apply it in real time. From a surface level perspective, you have a single but rather straightforward objective: create a productive and sustainable hellish factory that can meet necessary work quotas in order to unlock new technology that will increase your capacity, output, and efficiency. In reality, things aren't really that simple. Hell Architect is a very hands-on game in many ways. The game supplies you with a certain number of workers, referred to appropriately enough as sinners. These sinners will do exactly what you tell them to do, but you have to manually tell them to do it. You can assign these sinners various jobs in your hellish lair. You could have them supervise your flesh farms, and yes, I'm not making that up, that's absolutely a thing in the game, to ensure the cook pits have more than enough questionably sourced meat to serve your workers at any given time. You can have them spend a work shift trapped in one of your rather creative punishment devices in order to shed blood, which acts as one of the main forms of currency in the game. Only by building up enough blood via the pain and suffering of your inmates will you be able to buy new devices and other placeable items. In other words, you profit from the pain and suffering of people in your system, kind of like the US healthcare system. This is where both the manual and automated aspects of the gameplay somewhat merge in design. While it's up to you to place these torture devices and assign which sinner is to occupy it, you don't generally have to do much else for that individual sinner. They'll leave their punishment at periodic intervals to eat, sleep, or go to the bathroom, and then return to experiencing unimaginable agony. Your job, for the most part, has little to do with the micromanaging of the facility, but to instead focus on the macro. That said, there are times when you do have to get personally involved with the micro stuff, like when one of your sinners dies for whatever reason, like, I don't know, something small like lack of food, lack of toilets, lack of water, or any other substantial need not being met. You do have the option of spending resources to bring your sinners back to life. The price for these underworldly resurrections increases every time you revive someone, to the point where they ultimately reach astronomical heights. I've run into situations where almost all my sinners, save for a meager handful, have all died. When you found yourself in this position, as I have, it's very easy to come to an inescapable game over state, as while the game will gradually provide you new sinners on a set timer every 10 or so minutes, that can be a long time to wait, and with 90% or more of your population dead, production comes to a screeching halt, making it very easy for your remaining sinners to die of starvation because no one's been manning the flesh farms nor the cook pits. The art style here in Hell Architect is one area I do want to give the developers a lot of credit for. It has this adorably funny cartoon visual style. You really have to put in a lot of effort to twist the Christian concept of hell into something you can genuinely chuckle at, and the developers do take a lot of liberties in terms of establishing their own distinct version of hell. I, for one, found it extremely ironic that in a place that's supposed to be defined by fire and darkness, there's actually not much of a vibe. You're basically running this mini hell out of a man-made cave. A fairly brightly lit cave, I might add, where you can build stuff like a freezing blizzard chamber where you can have sinners shiver and freeze while their neighbors are boiled alive. The former brings new meaning to the term when hell freezes over. One of the major criticisms I have of this game is that the total max capacity of sinners is really low even in the creative mode. It's all but impossible to expand your base to its maximum potential size with the current sinner capacity. The developer has said they plan to gradually increase the sinner cap in small amounts in post-launch patches, but as far as I've seen, they've not yet done that, or if they have, it hasn't by much, because when the game came out, I believe the maximum was 50 sinners, and I believe now it still is left at 50. Also, I find it really annoying that ultimately there isn't any possible way to 100% complete the research tree and unlock all the wonderfully traumatizing torture devices and other advancements, because the game itself never provides you enough access to the necessary green gem resources, which you have to mine in order to build up currency to unlock these things. You'll always find yourself only having completed maybe 70 or 75% of the research tree, resulting in your base never hitting that satisfying peak efficiency. I understand in some respects that that's probably the idea, to keep the player replaying over and over again, forcing them to allocate their gems towards one thing at the expense of another, but just because I understand it doesn't mean I have to like it as a player. Overall, I had a pretty good time playing. It was a very slow-paced game, one very much intended for a more casual audience, but one with a decent learning curve. It's a classic example of the age-old idiom of easy to learn, difficult to master. I would easily recommend it to those of you who appreciate the rather snarky sense of humor. Hell Architect definitely is unafraid to cross that line into vulgar and rude humor, something I found honestly refreshing in this day and age, where seemingly all forms of comedy are increasingly sanitized and rendered toothless. Another area of concern for me, though, and I've seen others express similar concern, is the matter of the game's price. I'm not even going to beat around the bush here. Hell Architect is massively overpriced, and I have no idea why. Its current retail price on Steam is $24.99 USD. And the limited amount of content on display, while very well made, does not in any way justify a price tag that high. Hell Architect to me is the epitome of a $10 or a $15 game. It's a very fun and borderline addictive budget game, but to me, once you start getting into the $25 to $30 range, that in my mind should be reserved mainly for AA standard games like The Forest or Remnant from the Ashes, games with far more content and higher production costs, not a game like Hell Architect. Hell Architect to me is on the same scale as, I don't know, something like Prison Architect or The Escapist. That said, if you happen to see Hell Architect on sale for 40 or 50% off, and you like what you've seen and heard in this video, yeah, go ahead and buy it. I'm not telling you what not to buy, but just wait to buy it at the right price. Add it to your Steam wish list if you want, that way it can let you know if it goes on sale. Now on that note, that's where I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. As ever, if you enjoyed this game, be sure to click the like button and comment below on what you think of the game. Comments really help get my videos boosted in the algorithm, plus I honestly read and respond to nearly all the comments I get. Everyone seems surprised when I do that, but it's true. So even if you just want to drop a comment saying hi or to get my opinion on something, even if it's unrelated to this video, I'll be more than happy to chat with you here. Likewise, subscribing and clicking the bell really helps. I know it's cliche, everyone says it, but the YouTube algorithm is a pain in the ass to deal with for every creator, doubly so if you're a small channel like me. This is Warrior Dan signing out. Stay awesome everybody, stay safe, and peace out.